It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
If you want to talk about college, we're asking 17-year-old and 18-year-old children to make decisions that will impact their entire financial life, especially if they're using debt and leverage. And here's where can get very slippery. Education, I want everybody to know, we have created, the Abundance Cycle is, the Money Guy Show is I'm holding the ladder of opportunity for you to come learn, apply, and grow and create success for yourself. Because that's what education did it for you. It did it for me.
Absolutely.
I consider education the ladder out of any crappy situation that you might be in your personal life. So it breaks my heart that when you apply that knowledge, that education is your ladder, and we're even holding it for you so you can learn these financial concepts, it can be turned into a negative force.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people, and we're seeing the fruits of this, I think some of the unrest that we're experiencing right now is that a lot of young people are kind of ticked off because they spent a lot of money on education and they're just not getting the fruits from it because maybe, they didn't have somebody whispering in their ear these big discussions. So I want to talk about that. And why am I talking about a millionaire who's worried about passing down money to their 17 and 18-year-old child? You will see what I mean by this because this hit me hard when we went through it. So let's talk about this.
So again, one of the things that we've talked about is we are proponents for education. But now that we've sat on this side and we've hired folks from all over the country, from all different educational institutions, one of the things that we always counsel parents to have a conversation with their teenage 17, 18-year-old students is the choice of the school that you make matters, and it's not always because of the name. Because I think that's common knowledge. I want to go to the most prestigious, the highest end, the top level school. What we found is that when it comes to personal finance, perhaps that isn't always the best decision to make.
Yeah, without a doubt, your major as well as where you go to college is going to be important. Now, look, I'm going to start this because I saw this quote. I loved it. I've thought about this because, Bo, go ahead and pull the quote up because I'll read it and then tell you a little tweak that we wish we'd had a full-time equivalent Daniel do. This is T. Boone Pickens, and he passed away not too long ago. We've actually done some content on because he wrote a letter of all the things he kind of learned and wanted to pay it forward with as he knew he was dying.
Sure.
So, but here's a quote that I thought was interesting so you can see how T. Boone Pickens thinks because he was a billionaire. The guys who graduate from Harvard usually wind up working for the guys who graduated from Oklahoma State. By the way, that's where Mr. Pickens went to. So if I had to do this, I would scratch through Oklahoma State and write UGA
University of Georgia,
right
baby.
underneath that because I do think there is something about it. And look, I don't want you to just take our word for it. We do an annual wealth study, and I've seen other people, I think the Ramsey Solutions does their own wealth study, and their numbers are somewhat similar. That's why I love when you actually research what are successful people doing in their own lives. This is what we found from doing our own wealth study is that do millionaires go to private college? And this is what we found. For college, you can see only 36% of our millionaire clients went to private school. 59% went to public universities, and then 5% either went to both or they didn't even go to college.
Both meaning perhaps they did like public undergrad and then private graduate school or something like that.
But there's something to the fact that close to 60% of millionaires, at least in our own research, and I've seen this, like I said, with Ramsey Solutions, went to public universities. It ties into what T. Boone Pickens was sharing. So, but we wanted to go a little deeper because listen to these drastic differences in numbers. If you want to know what a private, nonprofit, 4-year university costs per year, it's right under $50,000.
So you can do the math really easy and say private university, 4-year degree. That's $200,000 to go to a private university.
So compare that to a public university, which is right under $22,000 right now. That's a big difference. If you're comparing close to 50,000 to 22,000, there's a lot of meat on that bone for building for yourself. And like I said, 17 and 18-year-olds are making this decision. So let's put some numbers to and let them know what is this decision you're actually making cost you.
So again, let's walk through two students. And again, this is full-time equivalent Daniel who's coming up with these names, which I love it. It's private school Peter and public school Paula. So private school Peter could go to public school for free, but he chooses instead to go to a private institution.
Yeah, this is a smart guy. Could have gotten a full ride.
Yep.
Sounds like scholarships, but he wanted the prestige of that private university was a song that he just couldn't avoid.
So Paula, she decides she's going to go to a public college for free. She's going to use scholarships and aid to do that. So Peter, in order to pay for the private school, he's going to take out loans to pay the difference. And we just told you that the difference in total tuition costs is going to be a hair under $112,000.
About $28,000 a year.
About $28,000 a year. Paula is going to graduate debt-free from college. No student loans, nothing to pay back after she graduates. So if Peter's loans are at 5% interest, he's going to pay $737 per month for 20 years to pay off his loans. That's what it's going to take to pay off that $112,000. Well, Paula doesn't have any loans, but again, we want to compare apples to apples. So let's say that after she graduates, she just saves $737 per month for retirement, but she only does that for the 20 years. So we're going to compare apples to apples. Peter's paying off student loan debt. Paula's going to take that savings and invest the difference. Tracking with me?
By the way, $737 a month for a young person is a tremendous. I can go ahead and tell you, compounding interest-wise, deferred gratification, this is going to definitely be a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. So go ahead and continue on with the analysis.
So Paula saves $737 per month for 20 years. And again, she's in her 20s, so we're going to assume a 10% rate of return here. After 20 years, she will have saved almost $177,000. But if she lets that money continue to grow all the way until retirement, that money will grow to be over $5.5 million.
So I want to come back to my original discussion. We have millionaire clients that are creating, estate plans that cost a few $1,000s to develop with estate attorneys to make sure that their 17 and 18-year-old children don't get the $2 to $3 million too early because they're worried they're going to blow it. But yet we're letting 17 and 18-year-old kids make decisions that cost them $5.6 million in the future. Guys, this is a big deal. This is huge. This is the reason we put this at the end, is because this is happening every day that we have young people. And unfortunately, that ladder of opportunity that we're trying to hold for them for education is being put upside down by straddling them with debt. And then there's a bitterness that I think comes from this, and it breaks my heart. So I'm just telling you, use this as a PSA. Pay attention to what your major is in college. Pay attention to where you go to school. And remember, if you're trying to have some type of guideline for how much student loan debt you should have by the time you graduate, I want you to think about what you can earn in your first year out of college. Try to keep the student loan debt below that. Now, I can hear every doctor out there or who's working in their middle of their residence right now is like, I can't do that.
Sure.
To be a medical student, I get it. You're an asterisk. We'll give you an exception. But still, focus on the opportunity cost, because there's a reason that we have millionaire clients spending thousands of dollars to save their children from themselves, but yet we have an entire group of people that are straddling themselves with this zombie debt for the rest of their life. And then they wonder, how do I get out of this? That's unfortunate to turn something so positive into a negative.